Welcome to the Digital Marketing Insights podcast, brought to you by Brightside Digital.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm delighted to say today we have Amelia, who is the Marketing and Sales Account Executive at Kick Dublin. Amelia, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Amelia, could you tell everyone your career to date, please?
Yeah, definitely. So currently I'm a social media account executive and social media manager for Kick, which if someone doesn't know, is an advertising and creative agency in Signlyman. So we currently have clients all over Ireland from Irish Defence Forces to HSC to the CNC Group, which is one of Ireland's leading drink distributors. So I work closely with Bulmers, Five Lambs, San Miguel, something we're all familiar with, I'm sure. And I will currently do the social media for that particular client, in particular the Five Lambs, the beer from Ahir, which has been our big campaign the last recent few months. And I've been in charge of the entire social media platform from paid to organic ads to community management to doing competitions and everything to kind of make that, that brand grow and just make people of Ireland more aware of a new kind of beer that's up and coming. So it's been definitely a hectic few months, but I've loved it. And previous to that, I was working for Facebook through Accenture. So I was a social media account executive there, and I managed over 150 clients. So that literally like dipped my feet in. It's like the marketing slash, sales role. So I had clients all over the world with different spendings using mainly Facebook, Instagram, and some on TikTok as well. So I was identifying where they maybe they're missing out on their audience, or their creative could be a bit off. They could get a bit more a better outcome, if they just tweaked a few things in here and there. And I just became so passionate about it. Coming from a sales background, like I started working sales at 16, and I've always learned how to sell something and be persuasive. I once made a man walk out of a suit shop spending almost 1,500 on different suits. But at the end of the day, my kind of motto is sell with a purpose. Or because I can always sell something to someone, but if I can sell a benefit to them, something that helps them long term or short term, I know they're gonna come back. I know they're gonna think of me when something's working for them. Like I had a client back in Facebook who was spending so much money every month on campaigns, but it just was not hitting their conversion goals. And it turns out when we kind of investigate a bit more, their audience was a little bit off and they were not targeting the right people, nor using the right kind of creative specifically for their product. So once, we kind of figured that out, and obviously it wasn't a quick fix, it took a while to kind of figure out what can help them. Like instantly, like their conversion shot up through the roof, just because they identified this is the audience that I want and this is the kind of creative that I need in order to appeal to those audiences. Because a lot of brands, I feel they implement hundreds and thousands and you think, it's going to be great. And it will in short term, but in long term, people change, tastes change. So you always need to play around with the kind of people you want to see your brand and buy your brand. So I've definitely dipped my feet in sales and marketing at the moment, and I love it, because I feel like when you combine the two, you know how to market to people because you already know what kind of sells,
Yeah.
and then with selling as well, from a buying perspective what's going to attract your attention, when you see something, and you want to make it relatable to the person. And I worked as a brand ambassador for many years through FMI and Verve, and I got to work with so many different brands and just promote the heck out of them. And it's been brilliant. Like, I genuinely love this field that I'm in, and I'm curious to see how, I want to work with more brands. I want to manage more social media campaigns.
Love it.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, no, it sounds fantastic. And okay, so obviously social media campaigns is the way you is where you do most of your work. But is
hmm
there any campaign work that you've done recently that you can talk about that you feel you've made really successful, or work you've done in the past that you're really proud of?
Yeah, definitely. Like with in particular the Five Lambs account I've been managing through Instagram since the beginning of the year. My big goal was just to make people aware of the brand and make kind of campaigns to get awareness and grow the account, because when I first started that account was very little in terms of followers. In the space of maybe 4 months, I grew almost 4,000 people on that account. And that wasn't just obviously implementing campaigns. I was also doing community engagement. I was talking to people. I was doing weekly competitions. I was doing kind of everything to kind of grow that audience. And to me, that was really rewarding because it got people aware that, hey, we're here. We're here. Don't forget about us. So I've been really proud of that. And we had a big launch of the unveiling of the big campaign last month in the Kingdom. So it was great to see the campaigns and the final launch tonight and see it all come together and see people enjoy it. And it's brilliant. When people talk about your brand, something that you've helped manage going followers and content, and that it's I've been really proud of that. It's almost like my little baby.
Yeah, no, I completely. You can hear that from what you're saying. Obviously, there's a lot of marketers and businesses that listen to the show. Is there
Yeah.
any areas you're finding particularly successful at the moment that you would like to recommend to people in terms of their social campaigns, or anything that you think people should be looking into more?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say it would depend, what their brand is. Obviously, if, I'm promoting beer, so the majority of people will like beer. But again, it's a distinctive beer at the same time. So it would really depend because it's not a one shoe fits all. But definitely say if you look at Five Lambs and you look at maybe another beer, maybe I'm not going to mention its name, but you look at another beer and it's very well known in Ireland anyway. And if you look at their kind of social media account, there's not really any engagement, and people would send messages or leave comments, and there's nothing really to kind of say like, you know, we're happy you're on our account, or just acknowledge that. So I do feel like if you're a brand and you really want to grow and you want to kind of stand out, like you need to engage with your audience, whether that's leave a comment here and there, whether you do as simple as like a comment, it's just something to kind of, because I feel like a lot of accounts can seem very automated, so I do like that personal touch. Particularly like to brands, to just kind of, to build that community. But again, that would depend on, what brand it is. Um, and also for companies to identify the audience, because I've worked with a lot of companies and a lot of brands through Facebook and stuff who, as I said, they can implement a lot of money, but without the work of identifying what audiences are best to them or what particular creative placements are best to them, their result is going to go high, but then it's not sustainable enough, you know. So I do feel like a lot of campaigns it's an investment. If you put in the time, it's gonna be a long term investment. Um, so I do feel like those things are so important in campaigns because, now they say an average person can look at 3 seconds of a video ad before they drop off. So what are you going to do in those 3 seconds to make your ad stand out as opposed to others? What are you going to do in that time before someone drops off?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the content at the moment and the imagery. How do you go about getting such great imagery for the brand?
Yeah, it's and again, we want to make it relatable to people. So with our current campaign now, we're making it relatable with our kind of like cheeky kind of images.
Yeah,
Like I say, our hair, I'm not dressing up. I've been wearing a mask for 2 years. Or, we're kind of trying to make it like relatable to Dublin, relatable to people. And that's how we find a foot in this market. That's how, we can kind of differentiate ourselves from other brands like Heineken, Guinness, and stuff like that, because we're kind of finding our own audience, and that takes time, but ultimately it's really rewarding when it finally gets together.
yeah, of course. And is there any particular softwares you use to create content or come up with some of these great ideas that you have on the accounts?
Yeah, so mainly kind of everything we do is in-house. So we would have our own kind of copywriters and kind of guys specifically dealing with like the imagery and the slogans and all of that. And then once they kind of develop that, I then put it out on I put it out. I put it out there. So I forgot my English for a moment there. The joy of speaking four languages you forget at times. Um, but yeah, I know, and then I kind of put it out there. So a lot of the stuff we do is in house, unless certain things we go to another maybe agency to kind of create the creatives for us. But
Yeah,
that's the one thing I love about my current job is small team, but we really just push, with the amount of clients we have and stuff like that. Like this is not one of our only clients, but it's the one I've been in charge of the most and the one I'm most proud of. Um, so and it's great. Like I work with beer. Who can complain about that?
yeah, exactly. And what I like about the Instagram in particular for Five Lamps is you play with color.
Mhm.
So you have a sequence of certain squares in a certain kind of color and tone, and then you'll flip it to a new one over time. Is that something that you consciously are always thinking about and trying to keep up to date with the feed and the look of the brand in general?
Yeah, most definitely. Like if you kind of go far back down on our social media back from 2020, it's very, kind of like black imagery and it's very, kind of like impersonal. So when I first took over the account back in March, I was like, okay, like what could I do to kind of make it a bit more relatable, kind of make it stand out. So we had a little shoot up in Signing Mount, which was a good laugh, and whenever I place images, I tend to. So I have another Instagram account, which is just my, throw images together, and I always put those images in that Instagram account, see how it would look like before I even implement the images on this account. Just for myself to see, because I don't want all images to be the same or be repetitive. I do like, as you said, a kind of difference. I always like look ahead in terms of what the grid will look like, because someone that might just jump in our account, that's gonna be the first time seeing the grid. I don't want it to look a certain way, so it does play in my mind a lot.
Yeah.
What's the first things they're going to see when they jump on their profile, what will stand out for them, whether it's a pine shot, whether it's you guys having a laugh, whether it's to win the flights to a European destination, which was insanely popular, or funnily enough, winning a Five Lambs glass was almost more popular than win a free flight to Europe destination. So
Wow. It's more on brand, I suppose, something like that.
yeah.
And in terms of new information, is there anywhere you go to for new insights in your work?
So I'm the main person that would do like our social media, and when I was working back in Facebook, I was really lucky to utilize a lot of kind of courses and a lot of kind of modules that are available there for anyone really that's interested in kind of upskilling their, whether it's their creative, whether it's their budget, whatever um kind of area of a campaign you're interested in developing on, they have courses there. So I would get bored very easily. Like I'd complete my work very quickly and I just do courses or something I can upskill. Recently I signed up to do a video developing course, which is something I'm not particularly strong at. I'm more on the images side of it. So again, that's a new little challenge for me because, I feel like videos are taking off lately.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's always something I can learn, always something, I can do. Like I'm only 26, so I want to learn literally as much as I can. And I love that now there's so much room for growth, personal and professional, and it can only go up, if you put in the
Yes.
time. But at the same time, with social media, there's always gonna be something new. There's always gonna be someone doing something different, a new trend that you have to learn, a new technique. So it is kind of playing like cat and mouse at the best of times.
And which video course are you doing? Which one is it?
So it's actually, funnily enough, it's actually by influencers. So this was a course developed by them because they were when they initially started out, like they started out from nothing, and then they kind of built this course. So it's Marie Faye and Jake Snow, and the course is Club Life Design, and it's essentially an online academy where they do both image and video kind of courses. You get a certificate at the end of it, and it's really sweet because you have a Facebook group with like thousands of people that signed up, and every week you put in something that you created, and they kind of give you tips and tricks. So I do really like that community side of it
Yeah, yeah, that's
than
brilliant.
just doing a course, that might be very impersonal and I would get a bit discouraged because I like that community. I like that, oh, you're doing great, keep going, or that there's something you could improve on. So, but again, it was a bit expensive, but I just said, like, look, I'm investing in myself. I'm investing in what I can do in the future, to hopefully
Yeah,
then not only do the campaigns, but also create the creatives behind the campaigns, and then sell them. So I want to, juggle all, all kind of like different aspects of social media.
yeah, of course, and you'll get there. And in
Slowly but
terms
surely.
of yeah, yeah, exactly. And looking at the digital industry as a whole, is there anything that you are excited about that might be coming soon?
I definitely think, I feel like in the last well, in the last year or two, like social media has changed a lot to be more authentic. I feel like before with certain big influencers, it was just them saying one brand to another brand, and half the time you're like, okay, are they selling it just to get paid for selling it, or are they actually endorsing the product because they think it's good? So do you feel like in the last year things have become more authentic? I feel like with COVID, people were trapped at home. So what else are they gonna really talk about other than themselves? So I like this authenticity of people now, kind of even when they sell products or sell a service, but they're being authentic about it. They give a personal story, and I'm curious how that's gonna, develop into next year. If people being more authentic, being more transparent, being kind of
Love
less,
it.
everything's perfect on social media, to kind of be a bit more real, like the app, you know. So it is interesting to see how things are gonna, change towards that direction. I hope it does,
Yeah,
because again, it builds a bigger trust with people, seeing that someone's like actually relatable to them, that they might seem perfect, but not always as it seems, and that, they're relatable with their own stuff. So that is for me brilliant to see,
yeah,
because
love that. Yeah, no, that's great. And lastly, we always ask Amelia, people on the show,
yeah,
if you could bottle up one personality trait that you have yourself
yeah.
that you could pass on to others, what would it be?
Ooh, um, so I have a favorite line to go for, but it's questionable at the best of times. So I would say, I'm like a cockroach. I'll adapt. Like no matter, no matter kind of what is thrown at me, no matter what situation I find myself in, I'll adapt to it. Because you're always going to be either in an uncomfortable situation or something you're not sure about, or irrespective, especially on social media. So you need to learn, okay, right, I'm a bit lost, but what can I do in this situation to help me out for the next time, or what can I do, you know? And I feel like you have to be in that particular situation. You have to adapt sometimes at the last minute. So I do feel that's very important, especially in social media, because there's always going to be something different, there's always going to be something new, and it's how you upkeep and it's how you deal when you're in that situation.
Yeah,
So I do feel like adaptability is kind of very important, and especially one of the lines I use in most of my interviews. But it's true because at the end of the day, that's how that's how you can improve, and that's you know that kind of thing.
that's it. Thanks so much for being on the show. But if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
Definitely you can follow me on LinkedIn at Amelia Achmetsina-Dowd.
Love it. Thanks everyone for listening, and thank you, Amelia.